Happy lunch hour, gang. Okay, how many of you have ever heard the term anchor baby or mail order bride? Probably many, okay? This morning, our illustrious fraud that currently resides at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue decided to embolden that business and make anchor babies and mail order brides the way to do it, the way to stay in the United States legally. Now, many of you guys know, those of you who've been around here long enough, that Mrs. P is an immigrant, okay? And she came here legally, and she's now a U.S. citizen. To give you the idea of what that took, okay? It was about 9 months of filing paperwork with the State Department, doing all sorts of biometric tests and medical exams and police record searches and FBI searches and God knows what. I mean, literally, we had a stack of paperwork that was like 4 inches thick, okay, that we had to take. Countless appointments that we had to go to. This is before she got here, okay? Interviews she had to go through, interviews I had to go through, documentation for financial support that I had to sign, that said for 10 years upon her arrival that she would not be eligible for any social programs, et cetera, et cetera. It was my responsibility. So after 9 months of filling out all that paperwork for a K-1 visa, for those of you guys who've ever watched the TV show 90 Day Fiancé, that's what it is, okay? She came over, we got married in 2015, in November. It was the following, I don't remember if it was July or August, until she finally got her green card. And that was as fast as we could do it. So she'd been in the States for 9 or 10 months by the time she got her green card. And then it was another 4 years to get her citizenship. And again, countless appointments, biometrics appointments, medical exams, paperwork, tests, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we don't even want to get into how much money that all costs, okay? But so Mrs. P is a U.S. citizen, came here legally. Joe Biden this morning announced that any illegal that's married to a citizen of the United States and has been in the United States for at least 10 years now can automatically get a green card and be eligible to work, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not against, by any means, somebody getting citizenship by marrying an immigrant, okay? No, I did it myself. However, there's a little problem with this. If you've been in the United States for any length of time, prove it. How are you going to prove that you've been in the United States for 10 years? You'd say, well, we got married 10 years ago, okay? Doesn't mean you lived here, okay? Could have got married 10 years ago and went and lived in El Salvador. Doesn't make a difference. You couldn't get a driver's license, right? You can't have an electric bill in your name, can't sign a lease, can't do all this sort of stuff for the last 10 years. How are you going to prove that you've been here for 10 years? You can't. So inevitably, it looks good on paper, but the government will take everybody's word for it. Oh, I've been here for 12 years. Oh, okay, when'd you get here? I got here in 2012. Good enough for us. That's what they're going to say. The deal is this. Of course, Joe signed this executive order this morning, this rule. Now, mind you, it does not go into effect immediately. It's not like all of a sudden everybody's lining up at INS and saying, okay, where's my green card? They're still going to have to go through some sort of paperwork process. They're still going to have to prove all this. But now there is no requirement that says you have to go back to your home country and fill out the paperwork and do it. You can do it all from here. Again, I'm not against somebody that married a U.S. citizen becoming a U.S. citizen. That's fine. That's the way it's supposed to be, okay? At least one of the ways it can be. You know, those people that get married in the Philippines or in Colombia or whatever it is. That's a different type of visa. That's a different way of doing it. There's multiple ways to do this, okay? But where you get into the issue now is, like I said, you can't prove the 10 years. They just opened up the monster loophole of loopholes for mail-order brides. There is going to be a cottage industry, you know it, where come in here, marry this woman, marry this man, whatever, we'll pay you $1,000, and in 90 days or whatever, 60 days, we'll get the wedding annulled once they've already filed their paperwork and showed that marriage certificate and they're married, okay? And of course, there will be the inevitable prenuptial agreements where the woman won't do anything, you know, or the man won't do anything, suing the American for child support or spousal support or anything like that. Child support, different animals, leave that one out. But this is going to get to make a convoluted immigration process even worse, because we know how well the government tracks illegals coming into the United States already. Here's your court appearance ticket, and nobody ever shows up, okay? But once they get that little card, fine, whatever, you know, I've got my card, now I'm legal to be here. Who cares? I don't even know the guy's middle name who I married, you know, but they're going to get it. And I guarantee you that the gangs, the cartels, the corrupt, the Hunter Bidens of the world will come up with a way to scam the system. That's what they do, okay? Criminals are always one step ahead of the law. Joe signed this in as an executive order, which means it is not a law. It can be overturned by the next president. Thank God Joe won't be president again. Even though there's rumblings this morning out of, I think it was the Washington Post, that Joe might kick Kamala to the curb and pick Hillary Clinton as his running mate. That, if that doesn't scare the crap out of you, I don't know what does. If that ever happened, Joe, I would be very worried. I mean, I'd have my life insurance paid off and my funeral arrangements made, because you'd probably have a life expectancy of 2 weeks, because Hillary wants the White House by hook or Arkansas, one of the two. But this is what you've got going on. They're trying to circumnavigate the immigration laws, the citizenship laws, through executive order. This is what dictators do. Okay, this is why we have 3 branches of government, okay? Congress makes the laws, and the president signs them into law. The Supreme Court, the Department of Justice, enforces the laws. Joe's kind of trying to get rid of the other two. We're not going to wait for a law to be made by Congress, and we're not going to worry about what the Supreme Court says. We're just going to do this. Hopefully, now that Joe has issued this EO, there's already lawsuits on the books. And again, like I said, it's not something that they can just open up in the morning and say, "Hi, we're here, give me my green card." But you know damn well this is what's going on. This needs to get fixed somehow. Again, I don't think any of us have any problem with immigrants coming to this country legally. Pinball out.